Hello and welcome back. We are continuing our series of tutorials on Python and Django. This episode we are going to work on cleaning up our tasks a little bit, finding something a little more useful. We've been working through roadmaps and time frames and getting some of that stuff put together. Our homepage, if you remember, is a list of active tasks, and we've added enough information that it's not terribly useful. So we're going to play with that and clean that up a little bit this time around. So first off, let's see if I can get this to run. There we go. Okay, so there it's running. Oh, got it running in two windows, so I don't need that. So let's go here, here, boom. So this is in To-Do. And so let's go take a look at that. Well, actually, let's walk through this. So To-Do is active tasks. If we go to active tasks, then we're going to see here task list. So there's not a whole lot we need to do with this up at the view level. We're going to actually just display out our change out our display a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is deal with these buttons. I'm going to do something a little more useful with those. And because we have all this within a single div, I'm going to sort of separate that out a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two divs. One is basically for the buttons and one is for the others. We're going to do it like this. So we're going to go do, and we'll start with something simple just to play with it, see how it looks, which is not an uncommon thing to do. And I'm going to use, let me do this. So there's my two buttons, and I do a break because I want to make sure that these are on different lines. Because that is, and then I'm going to use a class from Bootstrap, and the first part I'm going to do is going to be MD, let's do 8. And I believe we talked about this before. This is within Bootstrap, we've got essentially 12 sections that it splits the screen into. And so we're going to take the first 8, the first 2/3, and display most of our cards, and the button's going to be on the second 2/3. So if we just look at that, we're going to see where it's not showing. Oh, because it's not within a single row, because we have our line breaks there. So what we want to do is actually tasks is also going to be a row. I think that will take care of our problem. It may not. So he's going to be a row. He says that that should be there. Did I save it? Let's check that real quick and make sure that we got it. I may not have. So it's not picking that up right. Oh, it may not be picking up everything correctly. It's probably not picking. Did I not get my Bootstrap in there? I may not have Bootstrap. So let's take a look at that real quick. So we look here, and this is where we're going to play with this. So, oh, okay, so that's a row. Let's do it within that, because I think if we look at this guy, so let's change this a little bit. Since that whole thing is going to be a task, we're going to create one more here to keep the those two essentially a row. Come down here. I think that's right. That probably balances out. Let's see how it looks. There we go. So now we've got our 2/3, and we'll see as we collapse this. Whoops. Oh, yeah, that's right. That is collapsing. It just takes a while because of that. But we'll see as we collapse here, it does a couple things that are sort of ugly, but we do eventually get to see where our buttons just get forced to the bottom, which is essentially what we want. So let's go back to this, because we're going to keep it at this point mostly. Now let's add a little more information here, because we've just got a name, a due date, and a status, and a time. And what we really want is we're going to start splitting this up a little bit. So we're going to do this in 2s. And we're going to do another one here. And first, we're going to have the name. And then the second one, we're going to have the due date. And then we're going to take this guy and put him here. We're going to do the same break. I could play around with this a little differently, but this is just a nice, quick, and easy way to do it. And then I'm going to do, so that's 4, 4. And let's start, actually, let's do it this way. Let's do one more 2, because we're going to play around with this a little bit. And here, I'm going to talk about the time frame. And this is going to be task dot, I believe we called it parent. No, task dot time frame. And so let's take a look at what that looks like. So now if we access this, remember this is actually a class. This could be interesting to see how that comes out. And is there anything else we want to do for our task? Let's see, status completion date. That's good enough. So actually, I think we can just do it like this. Probably changes around, but now what we've got is, so now we're saying we've got our time frame, and see how this wraps because it's in that space of 2. We're also wrapping our name, due date, time spent. So let's move this around a little bit. And let's take this last one. We're going to split that to 3. We're going to take our name and status. Well, let's see. Take due date, because I think that wrapped. So we take a look at due date. Oh, that's okay. So we're going to keep due date and time spent where they were. Gives us 7 to play with. So let's open up the time frame one and the name by 2. And let's see how that looks. So now we've got our time frames. Interesting thing is this one's coming over a little bit. That may not have the right div on it. But we're seeing that the name is status. And then due date, time spent. So yeah, here. Oh, it's because time spent is getting pushed over, I believe. So let's take a look at that. Actually, let's take a look at it here. And we'll see that he is 4. He is a 3. If we go to the one above, he's a 3. 4, 7, 5, 12. So what did we do here? We did, because it's an equals 3. So that's why it's not looking right. We got a typo. So if we do this, and we're going to do that. Let's change this button here. This style is class is equal to button. So let's call it something different. Class equal to button info. Let's do button. Let's do task button. No, let's do button btn task. And we're going to change this in our CSS, which is somewhere up here. So we're going to create a btn task. I don't think we have a btn yet. Oh, we do. We have a default. We're going to call this task. And we're going to take it and let's change this a little bit. So let's take this guy. And we're going to change here the button info. I like the color. We'll keep the color. Let's change the background color. Let's go to something. Let's see. We can do this. Start playing around with the color this way, or we can just pick one. So let's pick. Let's change this a little bit. So let's go. We're going to go to our background color. And we're going to make it, let's see, D. That's very light. So let's go a little darker. Let's go like AAA. And then let's change our border color, or I'm sorry, not our border color. We can leave that. That'll be fine. We're going to change our color from this FFF to this guy, which is this. So we take him and we go here. Change our border color to that. Whoops, that's not the one I want. I want to change this color to that. And let's change that color to something darker like that. And then we're going to take this and we're going to add, whoops, we're going to do some little styling with them. So we're going to do a, let's do, see, based on this, let's do a, let me do padding bottom. And let's make this 3 pixels. And spacing bottom. Actually, it's called, what actually we want? Margin bottom. Let's do margin bottom. Let's make him like 5 pixels. So now we're spreading these out a little bit. 5's probably too much. So let's drop that to about 3. And we're going to change the width. Come here. Well, let's sit this way. I'm going to take all of that, and I'm going to steal that, and that's going to become my button task. And I'm going to set a width of, I don't know what I want my width to be. Let's set it to 50 pixels and see what it looks like. So if I do that, and then reset, it did not reload my static. So I'm going to come in here and reload it, and let's see how it looks here. Okay, did I not get my, oh, well, wait. Let's take a look at that. If I look at that button, I go up here. May not have his stuff right. So let's take a look real quick here. He's a BT in task. And if I go to my task list, whoops, he's a BT in task class. So he's getting what he needs. But I do want to change him to, I go to 70. And I want font size to be, let's go to smaller, like that. So let's take those two. And I'm going to put those here, I believe. There we go. Got a warning in here somewhere. Should be text line. See if we get any others. Oh, we do. Menu item. That's fine. Okay, so save it. And we probably have to reload that window. For some reason, it's not reloading our CSS, though. We're going to leave that for now. I'm going to come back to it, mostly because we're running out of time. So first thing we want to do is move some of this stuff around, see where our time frames are. So we can see those, we can get into those, we can do our edits and dive into those. We're going to clean up a couple of these other things, like here, where we've got a task list. Do a little more cleanup next time around and start walking through this application and just see what additional changes we can make. So that'll do it for now. Have yourself a great day, and we will talk to you next time.